to the Abbey and Young Abbey Fall Orchestra Concert of 2020. Wow, it feels like forever since the last concert. I probably should use the microphone, but can you hear me? Yeah, all right. So I'm personally really excited to be part of a concert. As most of you know, there's not a lot of this going on. In a professional sense, there's none of this going on. Absolutely nothing. There are no orchestras playing. So it's really exciting to be able to have a concert and put on a concert on such a nice day and to bring people together and just have this experience. So it looks a little bit different, right? You'll notice that the chairs, everybody's spread out and that everybody's facing the audience, which some of you might like because maybe you never got to see your performer head on. You only got to see them from the side. But it does pose lots of challenges, the space issue and how we perceive sound and things like that. But all of the kids, and I'm sure this goes for Abbey Orchestra too, have really put in a lot of work to make this happen. And we welcome you to our concert. So the first piece we're going to play today is Pilgrim's Chorus, and it's taken from an opera by Wagner. So you might recognize it. I heard it on QXR recently. Wow, I'm impressed with how together that was, honestly. No, it's so hard. I mean, I can't tell you. Usually in rehearsals, I walk around and put myself in other sections so I can yell at them and say, I can hear the cellos from where you are, but I really can't now. Like if I go and stand on the other side of the orchestra, I really can't hear what's happening over here. So the amount of listening required is just really, really tremendous. The next piece that we're going to play is called Taccatina by William Holfeld. And this is it's a very big contrast from the piece we just played. It's in a minor key and has just like a much edgier feeling to it. It's very rhythmic, and you'll hear a kind of eighth note pulse happening throughout the whole thing. That one takes so much concentration because even when you don't have da 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 da, you have to listen for it or think about it, or it all kind of goes away. So I'm really, really proud because last week we worked really hard on that, on kind of listening and imagining those parts in our head, even if we can't hear them. And I really felt like the group was very locked in and was kind of listening for that. Our next piece is a piece called Mystic Rhapsody by Susan H. Day, representing woman composer, contemporary composer. And this is a much calmer and relaxing piece, but you will still hear a lot of eighth notes over in the cello section, but they are slurred, which means they're not all back and forth. Sometimes two notes will happen before they change their bow, and that gives it kind of like a rocking or swaying feeling for some of the piece. Yeah, that one's really pretty. I'm just realizing now that maybe I shouldn't have this since the orchestra is no longer right around the podium. The podium doesn't really make sense. It makes more sense to kind of go in front of the people that need to see you at certain times. So for future reference, although I feel really safe having the bar. So our final piece for this afternoon is called Corozal Nights. And this is inspired by music from Belize. So you'll hear lots and lots of different rhythms, and it's much dancier. In fact, this piece comes with percussion, and I didn't know we would have a percussionist, but I think it's a little too late to add a percussion. It might be scary. So if you hear some extra, or from me, it's the percussion part. But this one's really fun, and we know that you'll enjoy it. I am on one. Usually don't smile anyway, so we can pretend they're appreciating the applause behind the mask. But they did a great job, and now there's like a little bit of kind of business that needs to get taken care of in between the groups, but your performers will join you next to you in a few minutes. All right, so it'll be like a 5 minute. If you need to kind of talk, check your phone, whatever you need to do, now's a good time. Right, and we'll come back with the Abbey Orchestra. Okay, so you guys can figure instruments in your cases closed. You can go pack up, and then I'll come and spray the seats and everything. Nobody's signed.
Okay. It looks like this side was taken care of. The other side of being redundant. Good.
Okay, welcome to the Abbey Orchestra portion of the concert. I'm so excited we got such a pretty day for the concert. We could have had it outside. It's just absolutely beautiful. Who would have thought 75 degrees in November? It's just beautiful today. But I hope you enjoyed the drive over here, and I hope that you'll enjoy the music even more. I'm super proud of this group. We haven't had a concert since February, and having this music in our lives has been just so vital to just life. It's been great. The kids, it's really important to have music in their lives. They're here because they love music, and this is a great expression for them to be able to like, put their feelings out there through the music that they're playing. And we're really thrilled that the arts are alive and well here, and we're able to give the kids this experience. So without further ado, our first piece is the Block Concerto Grosso. We'll be playing the prelude, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about each of the pieces so you can kind of get a little context there. Ernest Bloch was born in Switzerland, and he moved to the United States. In 1920, he was asked to start a music school in Cleveland, Ohio. He began the Cleveland Institute of Music with only 7 students the first year, and the school grew to 400 students in less than 2 years. Bloch composed the Concerto Grosso to show the students that modern music could still be written using traditional music notation. The students at the Cleveland Institute of Music premiered the Concerto Grosso in 1925, the year it was composed by Bloch. And so it's a piece that was written for his students to play, and we'll have our students playing it too. It's a very intense piece. We hope that you like it. It's pretty dark. Here we go. Thank you. Really intense stuff. I love it. It's really cool. Lets the kids really work their bow arm out, get the sound open in the room. I love how they fill the room with their sound. Our next piece is very, very different. It's a divertimento by Mozart. And as a teenager, Mozart got a chance to go to Italy twice with his dad. Very nice father-son trip to Italy. Of course, as a musician, he heard the music there in Italy, and he really enjoyed the style of the music there. And so when he came back to his home, he started thinking about that Italian style, and it started to seep into the music that he was writing. So this particular divertimento was premiered in 1772. Mozart was only 16 years old. So young composer, young music, beautiful light music with kind of like a bit of a reminiscent of Italian style. So we've got a lot of teenagers here playing music by a teenager, and we hope that you enjoy it. It's 3 short movements, an allegro, and then an andante, and then a presto. Isn't that piece adorable? It's like makes you feel happy. It's like sunshine and lollipops and all those good things. All right. Good. You guys are doing really well. Good job. You know, playing with a mask on is pretty weird because it rides up into your eyes as you're playing, and so you can see the notes, then you can't. It's like they just go away. It's really strange. And also, you're used to being able to look down the page and see what comes next. When you look down, you see like your mask or your nose or something. You're like, where's the music? It's really disconcerting. So you guys are doing great. You know, plus if you're playing like a violin or viola, it's pushing up from your chin. So adjust as needed. You guys are doing great. Fantastic. All right. I never had to do that when I was a teenager, so props to you. Props to you. All right. The next piece we have for you is really famous in the string literature. It's the St. Paul's Suite by Gustav Holst. Holst was a British composer, and it was very difficult to make a living as a full-time composer, as you can imagine. So to supplement his income, he took a job as a music teacher at the St. Paul's School for Girls. And when he went there, they built a music wing. That's really awesome. Like if you're a teacher and they build you a music wing, really great. They even built him a special soundproof room so he could write music in it without being disturbed. So he got so inspired in this new environment at his school that he wrote a lot of different pieces. And the first piece that he wrote there at the St. Paul's School was the St. Paul's Suite. And we'll be playing the jig, the intermezzo, and the Dargeson from that piece. And he had it premiered by the students at the school. So on our program, we've had 2 pieces premiered by the students at a school and 1 by a teenager. So it seems to be running a theme here that I wasn't intending on, but seems to be working. Anyway, what you can listen for as we play this piece is a combination of British folk songs and country dances, kind of interposed. And you'll also hear in the very last movement, the tune Green Sleeves makes an appearance simultaneously with one of the country dances. So we hope that you enjoy it. It's kind of a toe tapper, so if you feel like tapping your toe, go for it. There we go. That's a tricky piece because the time signatures change around a lot, and the kids have to really watch when the tempos, the speed changes, plus how many beats in the measure change. We did a really good job watching. Really amazing, guys. Good job. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. Oh, we have one more piece for you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So we're fortunate to have one of our percussionists here today, Ross Chu, and he's going to be playing with us on El Relicario. This is a really cool piece. It was written by Spanish composer Jose Padilla Sanchez. He was born in Spain, but he spent a lot of his time in Paris, and he wrote this piece in Paris in 1920. And it's a paso doble. A paso doble is a double step. So if you want to think of like 60 steps in 1 minute, all right, a paso doble means you double it. So you're doing two steps per second. So it's like 120, I guess you'd say, on a metronome. And I guess the feeling was like you could march twice as fast if you doubled the tempo. So it's a paso doble. At any rate, the song was very popular as like a entry to bullfights. So this one has a particular story to it, and I won't bore you with the whole details, except that a dashing bullfighter comes into town. A girl sees him and falls instantly in love with him, and he pulls his cape from his shoulder, and he throws it on the ground so that her foot won't have to get dirty touching the ground as she leaves her carriage. So she walks across the cape, and of course she's completely smitten with this bullfighter. And he pulls up his cape, and he tears off the piece that she has walked upon, and he says, "I will take this with me into the ring." And he puts it down inside of his vest, and off to the bullfight. Well, during the bullfight, it doesn't go so well. Well, unless you're the bull. It goes great for the bull. Anyway, so the bullfighter, he gets in bad shape. He's lying on the ground, bleeding. And the girl is just devastated. So she runs down from the stands to see him one last time. And he pulls out from his vest the piece of the cape, the El Relicario, and says, "This is for you. This is for you. So you would not get your beautiful foot dirty walking in the street." And then he dies. So anyway, the funny thing about the music is it sounds really happy, even though the story is really sad. So the first time it was premiered, it wasn't so popular because it didn't make sense with a sad song with happy music. So the singer came back the next time and dressed like in dark clothing and tried to look like sadder when she sang it. And then it became really popular. So there you go. Okay. So here's El Relicario. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay. You guys sound fantastic. Let's do it.
Wonderful job, everybody. Great. Terrific. And there's more to come. We'll have a concert again. We have one in December, we have one in February, and we have one in May. So lots more good things happening this year. Thank you so much for supporting your families in the arts. This is what we need right now so much. So thank you for your support and for all these wonderful musicians on the stage and for young Abby. Good job, everybody. Usually I'd invite you for cookies and stuff, but we can't do that. So maybe go out in the garden and enjoy the beautiful weather. Maybe take a photo or two outside. That would be a good thing to do instead. Thanks again for coming today. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. Yay. All right. I'll see you on Wednesday with different music. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, solos are beautiful. Nicely done. Good job.
Yeah, but. $500 from a guy who had a barn in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. 1930s. My wonderful high school teacher, she lived on